What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 45 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, and unfortunately, my co-host Dev, he's met with a terrible fate, it would seem. And yeah, so we don't have him tonight, but we do have special co-host Jeffrey Vegas. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
I am doing excellent, man. Thank you very much for having me. How you doing?
For sure, I'm doing great, man. Halloween really kicks off like my favorite time of year, that October, December window. I'm ready to go. I got the mask, I got my tricorn shirt, like which I love this shirt actually.
I didn't even notice that. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah, I don't know how well it picks up in camera. It is a Triforce made out of candy corn, so very happy about that. But we have a fun show lined up here tonight. Some Halloween headlines, including our topic of the show, which will be kind of us talking about, games that really get us into the Halloween spirit. But before we get into the Halloween festivities, we're gonna run through some headlines. Now, number one on the headlines that oh geez, Jeff, was that Mario Party 3 was the next game to join Nintendo Switch Online. Now, here's the thing, Jeff. I don't always share the NSO announcement because sometimes they underwhelm. And I was going to make a big fuss with Dev because Dev and I have an argument. We argue about the Mario parties and which games are the best. He likes the GameCube ones. I like the Nintendo 64 ones. But, however, he's not here. Devroro is not here tonight. So, therefore, the official stance of the podcast moving forward is that the N64 Mario parties are the best of the entire franchise.
For what it's worth, I would have voted GameCube.
Well, unfortunately, you're just a special co-host, not a full-time co-host here on the Game Room. This is not the Broken Tables podcast. But no, Mario Party 3 is a great game, and it's on the NSO as of the 27th. So definitely go check that out. It is a fantastic game. Number 2 on the headline. The Xbox had a new kind of showcase this past week called the Partner Preview. Now, I thought this was a really awesome thing that they did, Jeff, where they, we have the developer directs and we have the big showcases where they kind of show off their first party offering, some of their bigger blockbuster games. But this showcase was different. The showcase is kind of what I would liken to a state of play almost. In the sense that it wasn't any first party games, it was third party games, and some of them were big, but some of them weren't. And I thought it was a really cool thing for them to do, and I really liked it actually. It had some Game Pass announcements in there. Just gonna run through some stuff I liked from it real quick. They showed off Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. I think that game just looks incredible. If you played the first Like a Dragon, obviously it's a spin-off of Yakuza, but great game. Other stuff I thought was cool. Dungeons of Hinterberg. That game looks awesome as well. They showed off in-engine footage of Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, which honestly that just blew me away. I thought that game just looked absolutely incredible, Jeff.
Really? Because I'm a big Metal Gear fan, so.
Yeah, dude, you need to go check out, even if you don't check out the entire showcase, even though it's only like 30 minutes long, and I thought it was a very quick 30 minutes. It looks really good in it. I was very impressed by it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. They showed off Alan Wake 2, which is getting obviously excellent reviews, hoping to play that eventually. Lack of physical copy, though, definitely made me choose other games this month over it. And then the last thing that they showed, which I thought was really cool, also kind of Halloween themed a little bit here, but it was gameplay for their narrative-driven first-person horror game from the Chinese room called Still Wakes the Deep. Basically, Jeff, it takes place on an abandoned oil rig, and the game is looking phenomenal. It looks
I'm already terrified.
The game looks awesome, and they haven't really showed
An
us yet like
abandoned-
too much of it, but it looks really.
Could you imagine being stranded on an abandoned oil rig? Nothing but sharks and ocean around.
Yeah, it's terrifying. That's just
Like, I'm already terrified.
Well, we'll be terrified next year when the game comes out on Game Pass in 2024. But yeah, game looks amazing. So yeah, it was a great showcase from them, and I hope they do more of them because it's something that like I think PlayStation hasn't really nailed yet where it's like the messaging is just so on point where it's like you know what to expect. They have different showcases with different names, and it really sets the tone and expectation. And I thought that it was very smart for them to. Number 3 on the headlines. Jeff, we got news about the Fallout TV show and its airing date. It's going to debut on Prime Video on April 12th next year, 2024. The long-awaited series has been subject of countless leaks over the last 2 years as it passed through its various productions. And for the most part, it looks fantastic. This is just something else that I'm very excited for. Can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Fallout 3. It's probably one of my favorite games I have ever played. I can't wait for the show. It better be good.
I think it will. I can't help but have faith in it. The teasers that we've seen, the little snippets that we've seen, it can't be much worse than showing like Master Chief's bare ass television, because there's no way they would have done. They did. All right. Well, so that's something to look forward to next year. It's again, and we have a little headline coming in a little bit later, but it's really cool to see game adaptations like really finally sticking the landing. I mean, Last of Us this year was excellent. Mario Brothers was excellent. It's great to see it. Like it's about time that you would think that it would be easier to make something true to the game and make it good. But I guess it took us till, present day to do it. What's up to the Doge? He says Fallout TV show better be good. And how is Fallout Vegas not your fave, Jeffrey Vegas?
I know, Doge. I don't know why I hated it, but I hated it. I can't explain it.
So New Vegas is like actually probably my favorite Fallout game. My only knock against it is that it's just so buggy on the 360. But I loved it that much where I soldiered through the bugs. I was like, you know what? I'll deal with it. It's that great of a game.
I've heard so many people say that it was so good, and I'm like, did I just have like a bias or something? Because like, I don't know, but I might have to go back and try playing it again because I don't understand why I don't like it.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's on Game Pass too. So here you go. Speaking of Game Pass, next up on the headlines, Xbox. This past week, they're shaking up their leadership team with some promotions, handing out those promotions. So Phil Spencer, he's going to be Microsoft Gaming CEO. He sent an internal memo out to all employees saying that Sarah Bond, who has been the corporate vice president of Xbox, will now become the president of Xbox. She'll be taking on like the running of Xbox's hardware, software platforms. Quote, to manage the platform of today and build the platform of tomorrow, we are bringing together the teams that will make this possible, Phil Spencer said in the memo. Sarah Bond will lead this team as president of Xbox, bringing together devices, player, and creator experiences, platform engineering, strategy, business planning, data and analytics, and business development. Phil Spencer also pointed out that Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, is being promoted to president of Game Content Studios. This will incorporate overseeing the work of ZeniMax and Bethesda. It was also so there was a bunch of shakeups, and I'm not going to go too far down the list. But Spencer also points out that ZeniMax will continue to operate as a limited integration entity, led by Jamie Letter, president and CEO, reporting to Matt. And then also they didn't really mention Activision and that structure. We do know that Bobby Kotick's going to be stepping down at the end of this year, so I'm sure we'll get some news early in 2024 as to how Activision will factor into this leadership team. But I think this is really smart by them. They're setting up for the future. They're putting their people in place, and I think it makes sense for Phil to kind of move up because now you're going to have kind of like a three-headed monster where with like Xbox Studios, Bethesda, and then Activision. So I think it makes a lot of sense. You would actually appreciate this, Jeff, because I know that you're more of a Blizzard fan, collapsed Blizzard fan, as it would.
Yeah.
So I don't have it in the headlines, but this past week, Xbox heads like Phil Spencer and everyone, they went to Blizzard and they had a lot of branding that had Blizzard separate from Activision. And it's like the first time since they were acquired that that was the case. Like it was like you guys aren't Activision Blizzard anymore. You're just Blizzard. And
Huh, nice.
yeah, it's a great move for Blizzard. So I'm just really excited for really what the horizon for Xbox. There's just so much. Number 5 on the headlines, Jeff. I actually put this one in here for you because I know that, your perspective is that of like streamers and you enjoy watching streamers and their content that they create and the games that they play.
Yep.
So during the Xbox showcase, there was a game that was shown off called The Final, right?
Oh yeah.
So you've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I was hoping that could otherwise this headline would be kind of misleading if you hadn't heard of it. So the finals is soaring in popularity. It is a multiplayer game, PvP. I love the idea of it, how it's just like this map inside of an arena with like the crowds. And I don't know if you've actually looked into like I mean, you watch gameplay, so you know.
Yeah,
But a
absolutely.
lot of the gameplay just looks really, really cool, and I'm also really
I can't wait for this game. It looks really good.
yeah, and it was at the Xbox showcase, so I'm gonna hope for a Game Pass because I would love to play.
Like the way that I would describe it
Hmm.
is Overwatch meets Call of Duty in an arena like Rocket League. You know what I mean? So like you have an arena where there's a crowd and there's fans and stuff, but then it's Overwatch style gameplay and it's like Call of Duty. It's amazing. I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, and it's just doing really well. Embark Studios has taken to social airwaves to advise players to slow their roll a little because this game is maxed out right now. It's reached maximum capacity on Steam. Um, But the developers kind of came out and they said, "Hey, calm down. This, we're happy that people are really enjoying the game. This is a beta. They went out and they made a statement. They published it on Discord even, and they said, this is a beta, and the point is to fix stuff like this. So bear with them. But the game is taking off, and we could have a hit on our hands. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
It's always fun when you have that game that kind of breaks through. You know what I mean? And it just becomes like the next hit. It's always so much.
Yeah, I've seen some streamers that are like, I don't even want to play the beta. I don't want to ruin it. They're like, it looks so good. I want to play the finished thing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Number 6 on the headlines. So Microsoft, Jeff, they started blocking unauthorized Xbox controllers and accessories. Um, they're blocking the unauthorized Xbox controllers and accessories from being used on consoles. Reset Era posters spotted a warning about the block last week, with some third-party Xbox controllers now throwing up a connected accessory is not authorized warning when connected to an Xbox console. It's unclear if Microsoft is trying to target cheat devices or whether the Xbox maker is trying to push its official partner program. Now there has been some misconceptions here. People were concerned that it was all third-party devices. That's not the case. It is going so Xbox has a partner program where you can basically you get a design for Xbox clearance where it's like, hey, like Xbox wants to approve of your controller before you sell it on the market. Not all third parties do this, but they're going to have to if they want to continue to work on Xbox platforms. Now, a big speculation here has been, as I said, cheating devices, and maybe this could be Xbox's way of combating. Because obviously,
100%.
yeah, because they're obviously not going to approve cheating devices. And so I was actually thinking about this today, Jeff, and I think this could actually be Microsoft playing like 4D chess. I mean, they just bought Activision Blizzard, and like, what's one of the biggest problems with Call of Duty? Cheaters.
Cheating.
Yeah, and like, it would be insane if like Xbox like kind of low key was like, hey man, like look, like we don't have a lot of cheaters on Xbox console. Like, this is what we're doing to stop cheaters. And I don't know if PlayStation is doing the same or would do the same. So I mean, kind of kudos.
So here's my counter argument to that.
Mhm.
most of the cheaters are on PC. I know people have their stupid little I can't even remember what that thing's called, but there's a little thing that you could plug your controller into and it gives you aim assist on uh Xbox and PlayStation, but most of the cheaters are coming from PC. So while I do believe that this is aimed at cheating, and I believe that's how they're going to market it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really about forcing people who make controllers that are not authorized by Xbox to buy a license and be like, we're now approved by Xbox.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ty is in the chat. What's up to Ty? He says that it's not great for the consumer, but it is what it is. So, Ty, my perspective of it is I think that it's great for the consumer in terms of quality assurance. And again, like while I do agree with you, Jeff, I think that a majority of the cheaters are on PC. I mean, if you can eliminate any cheaters at all, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's called the Cronus, by the way.
yeah. The Verge does mention that later down in their article. They also point out that what some cheaters do is that they have devices that obviously you can fool the Xbox to thinking that you're using a controller when you're really using a mouse. So you get the
Yeah.
precision of a mouse without the recoil that a controller or like without the recoil that the mouse usually gives off. So you're kind of getting like a best of both worlds there.
Yeah. So if you're able to use a mouse and get aim assist at the same time, that's insanity.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that that's kind of what they're trying to do. I mean, obviously, they understand that they can't just get cheaters off of PC. That's like trying to get water, separate
Yeah.
water from the ocean. Um, Not very easy. But I don't know. I think this is good for them on a quality assurance level, and it doesn't mean that the third parties
Yeah.
can't put stuff out on Xbox. It means that they need
No.
to be approved by.
Like, you know, the Scuff controller?
Mm-hmm.
So Scuff actually takes old Xbox controllers and then remakes them into their controllers, so I doubt they're even going to have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see a problem from a lot of the big brands, the third party brands that you're used to. I'm sure a lot of
No.
those things, the razors, the
Yeah,
whatever other
it's going to be the
controllers.
controllers you're finding at Five Below,
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, it's like, oh, my $5 Xbox controller doesn't. It's like, oh, it probably wouldn't work for long regardless. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? All right, next up on the headlines, number 7. A lot of stuff's going on at PlayStation. So Jeff, obviously we didn't do a show last week. So this is like the one thing from last week I kind of carried over because we did get some breaking news a couple hours ago. So PlayStation,
Oh.
a lot of stuff's going on at PlayStation. Let's start off with what happened today. Uh, like I said, couple hours ago, I was literally working on finalizing the script when this came out. Bungie, owned by PlayStation, makers of Destiny 2, Marathon upcoming, they were hit with layoffs. According to Paul Tassi of Forbes, layoffs at Bungie began this morning. The department's hit seemed to include communication, social media, legal, and publishing, among others, based on various social media posts by now former employees. Tassi pointed out that there appear to be layoffs going on at Bungie as we speak. Jason Schreier added that the Bungie CEO Pete Parsons emailed the company this morning to say they'll be having a team meeting today to talk about some news today coming out of Bungie. One employee confirmed who has been let go is Liana Ruppert, the Destiny 2 community manager. She took to Twitter. She's now looking for work. She said, "I'm so heartbroken. I don't know what to do from here. This was my home. I feel so lost." Um, Really surprising that Bungie, Jeff, is being hit with layoffs, considering they were kind of a key focal point or a key centerpiece of the future of PlayStation in terms of games as a service and all of that stuff. Um, and then just to kind of tack onto this, so PlayStation support studio Visual Arts was hit with layoffs last week. They're a studio that basically helps the big dogs in PlayStation's lineup get out their big games. So they were hit with layoffs, as well as Media Molecule, which is another PlayStation developer. They laid off around 20 people. So before we get to like the part B of this, Jeff, it's just it it's kind of insane to me that PlayStation, as well off as they are, I mean, we keep hearing about how successful they are and how they're number one in the console space and everything that they're doing, and especially Bungie, and Ty points out Bungie is interesting as well, that PlayStation feels the need to be laying off all these employees. It's it's interesting to say the least.
So here's what I would say. I would say look at who they're laying off. We have communications, social media, and legal is the top 3 that they named. That happens all the time when a studio gets towards the end of its I guess game. Like Destiny 2 is towards the end of its life. Like if it continues to go much longer, I would be absolutely shocked. So there is absolutely no need for a community manager anymore for Destiny 2. There is no need for social media people right now because social media is just a big pile of freaking toxicity. Like who cares? You know what I mean? But I'm looking at who they laid off. I don't see anybody that concerns me about the video games being good. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. Coming out of Bungie specifically, I mean, obviously the other 2 studios are different. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with that take from you. I think that it's interesting. It is interesting. I mean, because obviously
that's a good word for it because it raises an eyebrow for sure.
Yeah, well, because Marathon is their next big game, and that's already ramped up in development. So you would think that, with them just already working on and they're far enough into Marathon that they showed it off last December. They announced, or no, it was they announced it last June, so they have to be somewhat further in. The game now, Marathon actually was delayed. That was announced also today. I don't think I fit it into the notes for the show, but it was delayed to 2025 with the expectation that it was originally going to come out next year in 2024. But like you said, I do think, and Ty agrees with you, I think that is a good analysis of the situation with Bungie.
Yeah, that was the first thing that caught my eye was who was getting let go. Like if we had some of the devs that are like well respected from Bungie getting let go, I'd be like, I'd be like, is somebody hitting a panic button somewhere?
So I will also say this kind of to devil's advocate it, because I was on Twitter today. Some of the people that were laid off, while yes, they are in those departments, some of them have been with Bungie for like 10 plus years.
Oh.
So so I mean, while I don't want to take away,
eyebrow.
I don't want to take away from your analysis because I do think it's a great point. There were some, like someone was like, "Hey, like I got laid off today. Thanks to everyone at Bungie for making the last 10 years great." Oh,
oof. That is a long time to be there. That does raise a little bit more of an eyebrow, to be honest.
yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, the part B of the PlayStation stuff, was that there was actually a firing at PlayStation. And that comes from. So originally it was reported by David Jaffe, PlayStation legend, and he said that he heard some terrible news. And the next day he revealed that it was that Connie Booth, who worked with PlayStation for about, I think it was since the 80s, 89 to be exact. She was with Sony from 89, key role in PlayStation Studios, that she was let go, and that it was not amicable, that it was not, she wasn't laid off, she's not retiring, she was fired. That was legitimately what it was. PlayStation did confirm that she was let go in a statement to Axios. Sony said that Booth helped drive the success PlayStation Studios is experiencing today, and her passion in fostering an environment where a team's creative vision could fully flourish has left a positive impact on many game developers. We're thankful for Connie's numerous contributions to the company and wish her the best in her future endeavor. She got future endeavor, Jeff.
Dude, I was just about to say that sounds very, very WWE of them.
It is. So while Sony did not specify the reason for the departure, David Jaffe, who broke the news, said that she was fired from her role. Quote, "She didn't retire, she didn't quit, she was fired," Jaffe said on his YouTube channel. Insider Gaming reached out to its sources to help collaborate the claims. Nobody can figure out how this was Connie's fault, Jaffe said. While mentioning that outgoing Sony Interactive CEO Jim Ryan was convinced that games as a service was the future of gaming. Booth's departure marks the end of a 34-year-old run with Sony, which began in 1989 and in a higher-up capacity in 1995 as an executive producer. Since 1998, Booth has had 4 roles under the product development umbrella at Sony, which included director, senior director, vice president, and SVP, head of internal productions. So Jeff, a lot of the Day Trading Doge has been a member for 2 months. Thank you.
It says 2 months, but it's 3.
Oh, it's 3? Oh, yeah, I see right there. So
Yeah, I don't...
3. Doge has leveled up. His arcade cabinet is now orange, so that's dope.
Yeah,
Um,
that's dope.
it is. Thank you, Doge, as always. Um, Ty says that Sony is cleaning house. All companies must evaluate their production line, see where they can be more efficient. Once Jim Ryan was gone, it made sense to review everything. So I actually think that Ty is right to an extent. I think I really can't help but think that this comes down to the direction that PlayStation is going in. Well, specifically with Connie, I think that the games as a service thing, like it's a gamble, and it's a gamble that the games industry has kind of really honestly yet to show that it works for the most part. Um, and so like I could understand some of the older, more established PlayStation. It's complete speculation, by the way. Some of the more established PlayStation veterans might not be on board with that future. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
never know.
lot of crazy stuff going on at PlayStation. Ty says might not be Connie's fault, but if she was in favor of Jim Ryan's approach, along with not handling the disgruntled studios well, now add that to PlayStation's pipeline isn't great potential, and I agree with that. It isn't in this article, but David Jaffe also did go on to say that a lot of the studios at PlayStation right now are not happy with the direction that they're going in with the game service. I believe that was also through David Jaffe. I don't have a source in front of me. Maybe it was time for her to go. That's what Ty says. So I don't know, but
I mean, if she'd been there since 1989, I can understand time to go.
yeah, I mean, again, there's an argument for both, but I guess again, the unfortunate thing is that we just kind of have to wait and see what happens with the future of PlayStation. Because the thing people don't understand is that this pivot by Jim Ryan isn't something you're going to see in the next like year or two. Like it's going to be like 4 or 5 years from now. Where is PlayStation at as a brand? Where are they at as a product? Where are they at as a service? And that'll be telling of Jim Ryan's, legacy.
Yeah.
So
And I think as an Eagles fan, you can understand, when it's time for someone to go. Like with Andy Reid, it was just time. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Like
Like
he's still an amazing coach, but after 14 years or whatever it was just stale and boring. Time to go.
exactly. It's like when you're here that long and you're just stagnant, it's like, all right, well, and it worked out for both sides because he got his ring, we got our ring. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I digress. Back to video games. So Jeff, let's dive into some Halloween related headlines here. Number 8 on the headline. So again, this is another one, and I'm curious to see if you've heard of it because I've actually seen some gameplay of this. But there is a new hit horror game that is going crazy right now. Just in time for Halloween. It's called Don't Scream, and it's exploding in popularity. It's a simple concept delivered horrifyingly well by two developers who have one goal in mind: to force gamers to scream out loud and break down in fear. So Jeff, this game has a really cool mechanic where they tell you to obviously wear headphones or turn your volume up and have your mic on because the game detects the sounds from your microphone.
Okay.
So one of my favorite bits that I've seen from this game that's kind of going around, it's like they're so you're like you're taking like pictures of these guys and they see the flash from your camera and they rush you and to where you are, like you can hide and you scream and they find you because you scream. And like I don't know.
I'm watching a little bit of the footage here now.
Yeah. So again, like this was a really cool shout out I wanted to give because I've been watching some gameplay footage of this and it's in like the found footage style. It is a really cool game.
I don't do well with jump scares and scary movies and stuff. Oh, this would be horrible for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine this in like VR or something. Oh god.
Man, that would be terrifying. But so yeah, if you're looking for a new horror game to play on Halloween this year, Don't Scream is the one for you. All right, next up. Number 9 on the headlines. A little less scary for you, Jeff. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which came out this past weekend, it is a smash hit, and it is the biggest opening weekend for a live-action video game movie ever. Five Nights at Freddy's has officially entered the silver screen record books with its biggest opening weekend for a live action video game movie. According to opening weekend numbers, the movie generated $78 million in sales in the US on opening weekend. On top of that, it hauled in another $52.6 million overseas, bringing its opening weekend total to just about $130.6 million against a budget of only $25 million. Despite mixed overall reviews, Five Nights at Freddy's can only be viewed as a success for a movie that not only launched in theaters, but on streaming services as well. Because this movie came out on Peacock when it came out in theaters as well. And people still went to go see it in theaters. Which, hell yeah. All about going to the theaters. The movie sits just behind Super Mario Brothers movie, which was released exclusively in theaters, as the second biggest opening weekend of all time for a video game. It's like, yeah. So I really want to go see this. I've heard good things, and as a fan of Five Nights at Freddy, which we'll talk about a little bit later, again, it's just a great time to get these adaptations where they're just doing well. So yeah,
I'm shocked right now that Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did better than Pokemon Detective Pikachu. What?
That is kind of surprising, actually. I'm looking at what you're looking at right now. That
is wild.
That is pretty surprising.
And that all of those beat Tomb Raider, that's even crazier to me.
Well, it is pretty crazy because Detective Pikachu and Lara Croft Tomb Raider are both actually really good movies.
Yeah.
So.
Damn.
But yeah.
Like if you asked me to name that top 10 of video game movies, I would have been so wrong. It's not even funny. I would have been nowhere near.
I think I would have gotten the 10 right, but I think I probably would have gotten the order kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for the headlines this week. Let's dive into the game releases for the week of October 30th before we get into the topic of the show. Out today on iOS, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Resident Evil Village comes out on iOS today on the 30th. Jusant comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC tomorrow on Halloween the 31st. Also on Game Pass. Silent Hill Ascension comes to PC on October 31st. That's a nice little Halloween game for you.
I got the B-roll for that rolling right now.
Oh, very nice. Alien Hominid Invasion comes out for Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on November 1st. Song of Nunu, a League of Legends story, comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on November 1st. Blasphemous 2 comes out on PS4 and Xbox One on November 2nd. For the King 2 comes out on PC on November 2nd. Plate Up comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch on November 2nd. Power Wash Simulator makes its way to the Quest on November 2nd as well. RoboCop Rogue City comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC on November 2nd. Star Ocean, the second story R, comes out on PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC on November 2nd as well. A lot of stuff coming out. The Smurfs 2, Jeff's Game of the Year pick. The Prisoner of Greenstone comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on November 2nd. The Talos Principle 2, coming out PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on the 2nd. Thirsty Suitors, PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 2nd. Vampire the Masquerade Justice comes out on PSVR 2 and the Quest on the 2nd. WarioWare Move It comes out on the Switch on November 3rd. So I'm going to say that there is some low-key great games coming out this week that people aren't talking about. The Talos Principle 2 looks really good to me. WarioWare is always a lot of fun. I know Dev, that would probably be Dev's pick of the week if he was here tonight. Jusant looks really good. But my pick for this week is actually going to be a little bit of a out of left field here, but Star Ocean, the second story R. I love the art style of this game. And this is going to be a game that I'm considering picking up. I think it was shown off at like a Nintendo Direct this year. And I was like, I fell in love with like the visuals, and it also kind of has a fun little RPG hook to it too. So that's going to be my pick for the week. Jeff, do you have a pick for the week?
You know, as much as I don't like horror games, this Silent Hill Ascension looks really good so far. Even though I haven't read the same, I've read a little bit of the opposite, but it looks good.
Oh, no Smurfs? No Smurfs for you?
No.
Gadesh or whatever they're called. I don't even. All right,
Uh,
let's move on to the topic of the show. So originally, I had Dev and I were going to list like our five, both give our top five games that we love playing for Halloween. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're scary or horror. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But like, what really fits the vibe of like Halloween? Um, Fortunately, Dev's not. So I'm gonna give my five, and then Jeff. So did you come up with any, or are you just kind of gonna?
I only have one. I play the same thing on Halloween time every year, so I'll throw mine out there when we get there.
Okay, cool. All right. So my first one, I actually wanted to give an honorable mention to the Dark Pictures anthology series. Um, so this is a really cool franchise where they kind of put one out like almost every year, and it's basically like an interactive movie. It's from the Until Dawn team, and it's always kind of like a horror. Sometimes it's more psychological horror, but like you could marathon in like, I mean, like they're like 4 or 5 hours long, but like you could enjoy them in decent succession. Halloween. Um, so my first pick for like games that I really love during Halloween, was Resident Evil. Specifically, like I was thinking about which one I would put, and like I was kind of torn between like Village and like one of the older ones. Maybe like two, like the original two, not remake two. Um, Obviously Resident Evil classic in terms of that like old survival horror, and it's a franchise that I've always kind of enjoyed. So that was gonna be my first pick. Um, any love for Resident Evil, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. Resident Evil is one of my favorite franchises. Resident Evil 3 with Nemesis. I almost had the thumbnail, with Nemesis on it, but instead I went with that really cool Luigi I found.
Yeah, I think for me, like three is probably the scare.
Oh, so
That
good, dude.
the
Nemesis
Nemesis,
was literally
yeah,
terrifying.
yeah, the Nemesis just tracking you down. It's absolutely.
It's like, all I have is a pistol, must run.
It's like I'm literally dying. I've been poisoned in the clock tower. I'm dying. I
uh,
just need to get away, and you fail. You just um number two for me. Now this is not a horror game, but it takes place during Halloween time. It's called Night in the Woods. Kind of a smaller game, indie game. You play as this, so it's a cool like art style, and it's like everyone's kind of like animals, and you play as this girl May, and she comes back to her like hometown because she drops out of school, and it's around Halloween time, and there's some really weird stuff going on in the town. Um, and it like I love the art style and the vibes. It really fits like the fall Halloween vibe. Not even just because it takes place that time of the year. It just really. So that was going to be one that I was wanted to shout out.
yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of that one, actually.
Yeah, it's just like again, it's a smaller indie game. I think that not a sequel, but a game from the same studio was announced at the PlayStation showcases. Which I pointed out when it happened. I think back in June. So I'm really looking forward tonight to that game. But I love Night in the Woods. It's a kind of like a out of all the games on my list, it's the most unknown, but I just wanted to include it and give it a shout out. Now, number three on my list is Luigi's Mansion because it is such an interesting concept back in the day. Like, so they're making the GameCube, and you think they're going to launch with a Mario game, but no, they launch with a Luigi. And it's not just like a Luigi platformer. They do something completely different, play off of Luigi's character flaw that he's just a big chicken. And they make him a Ghostbuster for all intents and purposes. They make
Yeah.
Luigi a Ghostbuster. And I just think that specifically the first one. I mean, I love three, and I love two, but like one is the one that I'm referring to here, where the original, where it's just like that really fits like the Halloween vibes really well.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion, just so dope.
I mean, that's why it wound up on the thumbnail. It was one of the first things that it came to my mind.
Yeah, and you put it on there before you even saw the script, so you like that
Yeah.
was just it just made sense. All right. So number four for me, and this is yeah, so it fits in well with the movie as well. Number four is the Five Nights at Freddy's. Um,
Nice.
as scary as Resident Evil is, I mean, obviously Five Nights at Freddy's leans on the jump scares and the art style, especially in the older games. Five Nights at Freddy's is just I love Five Nights. Just everything about it. Like the horror aspect, the gameplay hook, the survival aspect, the lore. Like there's just so much great stuff about Five Nights at Freddy's. And I love to see that the IP and franchise is kind of carried on, especially after like the head of the franchise, the creator, kind of stepped back from the franchise. So that's number 4 on my list. Um, so Jeff, why don't you go ahead and share with me the game that you've chosen?
So I'm actually surprised that you didn't have it on the list here, but you know, it does make a little more sense now that I think about it. But it will be whatever version of Call of Duty Zombies is out at the time. I play that just about every year, Halloween time. I usually do like a live stream of it, so I was kind of contemplating it for tomorrow night, maybe doing some COD Zombies. We'll see. I don't even know if there's actually zombies out right now. Do you know? Like, does COD have zombies right now?
I don't think Modern Warfare 2 has zombies.
Okay, then they don't. I
Well,
heard it's coming though in the new one, right? The new Modern Warfare 3 is gonna have it.
yeah, Modern Warfare 3 has like a completely revamped zombies mode where it's basically like the
Okay,
DMZ map, but with zombies.
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Modern Warfare 3 personally. I think like a lot of it sounds very promising. So I'm going to be playing a good amount of Modern Warfare 3. Um, but yeah, no, I would definitely that's a great pick. Like I especially would think of like the older zombies ones, like Black Ops and World at
Yeah,
War. Like those are the ones.
the Black Ops is my fave.
Well, I always loved Black Ops 1 because not only did it do really cool zombie stuff on its own, but when it came out, I bought the special edition which came with all the World at War maps. So like for me on my Xbox when I boot it up, Black Ops 1 is like the ultimate zombie experience because it has both the games that I love into one. So that's really cool. All right, well, I'm sure it'll surprise absolutely no one. But um my final pick, my number 5, the game that I just absolutely love. One of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite game of all time. Especially this time of year, is The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. Um, it like I love this game, and I know I've just completely like geeked out over Majora's Mask many a times on the podcast. But this is one of the most Halloween ass games that not nobody, but people don't ever really think about because obviously you have like the creepy vibes, you have all that stuff going on in terms of the tone and the story. The game's about wearing masks. And like what's more Halloween than creepy vibes while you're putting on masks, costumes. Um so those are my 5. And yeah, so like these games are always great picks for me during Halloween. Would love to hear whether it be in the chat or you go into Discord, or leave a comment if you're not watching the video live. Maybe you're checking us out later on. Would love to see what games you guys think make a great Halloween game. Sometimes they can be scary, sometimes they don't have to. It's all about atmosphere. Um, but so those are my picks. So I actually think I want to play some Majora's Mask. I'm really thinking about it. Fit the vibe. The night before Halloween, it'll fit.
Doge plays Fortnite spooky mode. Oh, did they make the map spooky this year? They used to do it all the time.
So spooky mode, like what? They just like make it nighttime or like what do
Yeah, they
do?
just throw pumpkins everywhere, kind of like decorating the map for Christmas. They just decorate it for Halloween.
I remember that Blackout had a really cool Halloween event where it was like,
So good.
dude, that
So good.
map was so fucking sick. You know what I
I
mean?
remember playing it and being like, leave this, please leave this. I was like, this is way better than the regular map.
It was so cool, like the dark and the clouds, and then they had that game mode, Jeff, where it was like zombies infection.
Yeah.
They had all 100 players, so like you had to try to stay alive, and you got killed. You turned into a zombie, and it was like those last few players alive. Like I remember like being the one of the last ones alive one time, and there was like 98 zombies just fucking swarming me, and I'm like, this is incredible.
Have you seen what they're doing with Warzone right now?
No, what are they doing?
So when you open a case, you know, to like get weapons or open up anything, there's a possibility of a jump scare. Like a skeleton just screams in your face on the screen. I'm like, dude, no.
That's
Please
hilarious.
no.
That's hilarious. I gotta respect it. I absolutely have to respect
Yeah.
it. Huh. All right. Well, this has been a fun little episode. Again, love the festivities. Love this time of year. Halloween it kicks it off. Um, I'm still
I love
playing
that Majora
Starfield.
Mask statue.
Dude, I know. So this is from First Four Figures. It is like literally one of my. I said before we went live. It is like my favorite piece of my collection. Like, if you were like, if the house is on fire and all the
Yeah.
family and all the cats and all the personal heirlooms are out, and like I can get one non-gaming related thing out. It's gonna be this. I'm gonna grab them, and I don't care how ridiculous that's. It's like, all right, well,
I mean, hey, it's the centerpiece of the collection, so
it is, and also it was expensive as hell. It's also the most expensive piece of the collection. So, you know,
Yeah, it's probably worth like half of the collection itself.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and considering it's a limited run too,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it's worth because I don't look on the market.
No, you can't get one unless you go on eBay and
Yep,
maybe find someone
yep.
selling it.
You would have to find someone selling it on the secondary market. This is not available anymore. Um, yeah. So, all right, well, that's gonna do it for us here on the Game Room Podcast. I'm still playing Starfield, by the way. Trying to knock Starfield out. I feel like I'm getting so close, and I really just need to finish it because I want to play Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man before Call of Duty comes, Jeff. And I just don't know how I'm gonna do it. Just I'm dying in the best.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
there's a lot of games coming right now.
Dude, the December podcasts are gonna be crazy because like when we start like kind of sitting back and like reflecting on the year, whether it be like our year-end report cards that we're all gonna do or whatever it is, like this year has been so just like absolutely insane. Like I can't even fathom how we got a gaming year. Just it's been relentless and just unstoppable. Um but we'll continue to cover the year in gaming and what we're playing and all the news headlines here on the Game Room Podcast. This has been episode 45 of the Game Room Podcast. Please leave a like button and subscribe. Support the channel. We really appreciate it. It helps us. It makes us able to help you guys with providing better content, both with video games and pro wrestling. Yes, we do the Game Room here with video games, talking usually with co-host Dev uh, every Monday for the most part. We also talk about AEW. We do our Dynamite reviews. We do our Rampage discussions here and there. We do our Collision reviews as well. November 18th, AEW pay-per-view coming up full gear, so we'll be doing most likely a live watch along for that, I would imagine. So a lot of content happening here at the on the Broken Tables Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe to become a member. $5, and like I said earlier, it helps us make the channel better so we can put out a better product for you guys. As always, really appreciate that. You can follow us on our social medias in the description down below. You can also join the Discord where we're always talking about really cool shit, whether it be video games or wrestling or movies, TV, sports. We have our just general discussion channels where we dunk on Jeff for being an Elon Musk fan. It's great. Love it. All
I
the
haven't supported that dude in months, bro.
Did you see like what they valued the shares for the employees?
No.
So, oh man, hold on. Before we actually end the show, I was going to share this in the Discord, but I forgot to. So because I took a screenshot of it to put in the.
Real quick, while you're looking, I found your statue sold on eBay September 2nd of this year for $800.
Well, there you go. So Twitter told its employees today in an internal note that the company is worth $19 billion. Now that sounds like a lot, Jeff. But what if I told you when Elon Musk bought Twitter a year ago? What do you
It
think?
was like 44. It was 44 billion, right?
Yes. So Twitter was valued at $44 billion
Yeah.
a year ago. And now it's down to 19.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I mean, if you want me to tell you what I really think happened with Twitter, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
So, a billionaire in the world disagreed that he felt a social media platform was being used for politics. So he took a large portion of his fortune, whatever you want to call it, and he used it to destroy the platform. And I truly believe he meant to destroy it from the very moment he bought it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you just said. And I think it's because, I don't know. I didn't use it for politics. I thought thought it was
No, me neither. Like, I don't want to go down that road, but everybody knows what we're saying. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But I think that's what happened. I think he's like, I don't care about this money. I'm gonna destroy this shit, and he did.
yeah. I mean, definitely dumb. Definitely dumb.
Yeah.
Um,
And remember, I used to say, like, I don't see any bots anywhere. All of a sudden now, even our account is followed by like 10 bots a day.
mhm.
And I'm like, where are these coming from? It has to be from the same source, though, because they're all the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's one girl's name with one picture she posted and follow me. And I'm just like, what the hell is this crap?
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I digress. But anyways, we're gonna get out of here for the night. Everyone enjoy your Halloween. Have a happy Halloween, however you spend it. Whether it be playing some scary games, watching some scary movies, taking the kids out trick or treating, giving out candy, whatever you do. Enjoy it. Have fun. And we will be back Wednesday night for our AEW Dynamite review. We'll catch you guys.
Yes. Peace.